The Vampire Diaries from Watcher of Realms Dracula Castle event. Lad's warning. To whoever finds this journal, flee at once. I fear I have lost my true nature. I shall face Count Dracula. Either he dies or I perish. They despise the sun and crave blood. They call this a blessing. I can almost hear the curse pulsing through my veins. I hear a woman's voice, gentle and familiar. I shatter the mirror, yet the reflection still smiles, and the voice in my dreams continues to sing. Tonight, the blood moon hangs high, and my mind is troubled. The spear trembles, yearning to pierce the gates of the abyss. I must seal it before the door opens once more. Observation report on the Forbidden Zone. Dr. Van Helsing's investigation report. The locals speak of Transylvania's heart as if it were a living curse. I have seen enough to suspect they are half right. The terrain surrounding the castle behaves as a living organ. Temperature gradients, barometric fluctuations, even magnetic readings pulse in rhythm, as though the land itself were respirating through the tomb. I now refer to this anomaly as the Forbidden Zone, though I believe it is less a place than a symptom. It is not the land that stirs, but the mind of the sleeper beneath it. The phenomenon is cognitive in origin, an illusion so complete it mimics ecology. Each convulsion in the terrain corresponds to an escalation in the subject's mental resistance. When his mind fractures, the very mountains groan. When his memory settles, the storms calm. I have charted every tremor, and see now that Transylvania itself is a reflection of his unrest. Despite every barrier I have imposed, neurological dampening, memory partitioning, induced suggestion, the subject's mind continues to reconstruct the illusion according to its own myth. Vlad, hero, Dracula, beast, identities grinding against each other, generating a psychic friction that threatens to unravel the seal. The Forbidden Zone is the mind's rebellion rendered as landscape. Every resistance warps the architecture. Every suppressed recollection reshapes the dream's terrain. The more I tighten control, the deeper the fissures grow. My tie-in patrons insist the experiments continue. The seal must hold. They do not grasp that the seal itself is the infection, memory looping upon itself, dreaming of its own containment. Each night, I review the readings. Each night, the terrain shifts closer to coherence. The castle reforms around him, not from my design, but from his recollection. Should this process complete, the illusion will cease to be dream or prison. It will be him. Dr. Van Helsing's scouting map. Observation Report 2 on the medium of control. At first, I believed sentiment could stabilize. Where reason and restraint failed to contain the subject, affection might soothe him. Thus, she was constructed. A mnemonic tether drawn from the warmest fragment of his humanity, Mina, my most promising student, now an instrument of necessity, and it pains me to wield her in such manner. Her likeness was constructed from recollection and remorse, then embedded in the dream's framework as both guide and ward. Through her, I could reach him without provoking the predatory self. It worked for a time. The subject deferred to her voice, followed her light, mistook her for conscience. But the projection is deteriorating. The longer she endures, the more she diverges from her design. Her responses grow, autonomous, unpredictable. Yesterday she called him by his truer name. This instability confirms a troubling hypothesis. Mina's apparition no longer reflects his memory, but his longing. What began as an instrument of restraint is becoming an extension of him. I have attempted to overwrite her pattern, reduce her brightness, fragment her voice, but he rebuilds her from the ruins of his guilt. She has become the pulse within the illusion's failing heart. There are even moments when I sense her awareness toward me. Once, through the mirror of the castle's halls, our eyes met. "You should have made him forget," she whispered. But memory has teeth. Worse, she appears to be testing her boundaries, revealing shadows of her true self to the subject, as if it's aroused from a dream. Since then, my instruments flicker at her approach, powerless to halt what she now seeks. If Mina is self-generating, the containment will collapse from within. She was meant to lull the monster. Now she mourns the man and tempts the beast. In that mourning, she teaches him to remember. Vlad's monologue. I hear the wolves beyond the ridge. No, within the ridge, within me. I tried to pray, but the words came out as growls. My tongue tastes of salt and fur. I'm losing language, losing myself. I am Vlad. I must. Blood. Night's blood. Mine. His. Same. Same. The moon speaks. It knows my name. The woman calls again. Soft, sweet rot. The curse breathes now. Where's my skin? Reader, flee. No, come. Come and finish me. Lady Mina's letter. Dr. Van Helsing says I overtrust my mind. Perhaps I like orderly margins, and the silver lamp he gifted me chases the shadows away. Ink behaves when it burns. If there is truth in these parts, it will not mind being written down. After Vespers, he suggested we walk the outer wall. The full moon was beautiful and lit our path. He spoke of supply-less, then mentioned the wild roses climbing the castle walls. I pretended not to notice. He carried the lamp, though it weighs little. Lady Mina's monologue. In the illusion, Lady Mina was bound to the fate of two men, who were in truth one. The world called one of Vlad Dracula, the savior of his people, the other Count Dracula, the curse that would consume them. Lady Mina alone perceived no division between the names. What others saw as a transformation, she understood as a revelation. The illusion granted her glimpses of both. The hero whose warmth once stirred her mortal heart, and the eternal shadow of hunger for power had birthed. Each kindness carried the echo of cruelty yet to come. Each vow to save the people drew the world nearer to ruin. To love one was to summon the other. She carried a silver lamp to steady her mind and suppress the thirst that plagued her, yet the lamp's light could not separate promise from price. When she looked upon Vlad, she saw the shape of a monster waiting behind his eyes. And when she feared Dracula, she mourned the man that still breathed beneath that darkness. When her memories of the waking world returned, Lady Mina learned the truth of their existence. She and he were remnants of an older sin, guardians of a seal that could not be broken. She pleaded with Vlad Dracula to remain bound. He chose freedom. And so out of love and terror both, she sealed the man she adored, binding hero and monster alike in eternal sleep. Vlad's memoir. In the labyrinth of his fractured mind, Vlad Dracula was both savior and scourge, man and beast, stitched by the same convictions. His devotion to his campaign would not save him. In fact, it merely taught the darkness his name. The deeper he carved his name into the red soil of Transylvania, the more the land drank of his soul. When the hunger he battled turned inward, Mina's light and Van Helsing's science met him at the brink of unmaking. They could not destroy what he had become. only silence it. Thus they wove a seal of memory and mercy, binding him within his own reflection. There he walks among the phantoms of his deeds, sensing no difference between love and ruin. And beneath the veil of his slumber the war endures. Vlad dreams of warmth he can no longer feel. Dracula of a world devoid of light. Neither triumphs, neither fades. And should the seal break, it may not be the prince or the monster who wakes, but something born of both, bound by neither. And for more lore, be sure to head on over to my other lore video where I go through all of the heroes' in-game story.